Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another edition of Pre-Algebra Online. Today, we're going to be talking about our final lesson before the test. Bum, bum, bum. And it is factoring linear expressions. Factoring. We're going to be going back to greatest common factor. This is related to when we talked about reducing fractions. So you're going to be using those skills that we talked about back then. Speaking of factoring and greatest common factor, we have to talk about the word monomial. What is a monomial? A monomial is a number, a variable, or a number times a variable. So when we factor things, when we factor two monomials, you're looking for the biggest possible thing, the greatest common number or variable or combination of the two between two monomials. Okay? So let's get in and find out what we got going on here first. First, I always check the numbers. Look at 12, look at 28. I always look at the smallest number first. Can 12 go into 28? No. So I break it up into its two biggest chunks, 6 and 2. Can 6 go into 28? No. I could also do 4 and 3. Can 4 go into 28? Yes. So that's my biggest number. Now, this one has a C, but this one doesn't. So therefore, this one has a greatest common factor of 4. Over here, can 15 go into 25? No. Break up 15 into its two biggest factors, 5 and 3. Can 5 go into 25? Yes. So that's our biggest number that they both have. Now look at the variables. They both have an X, so that comes along. So we got a 5, we got an X. Did they both have a Y? No. So our answer, our greatest common factor, is 5X. So over here, it was 4. Over here, it's 5X. Now over here, we have 14. Can 14 go into 42? And thankfully it can. 14 times 3 is 42. Do they both have an M? Yes. Do they both have an N? Yes. So here, the greatest common factor is 14mn. Now you might be asking yourself, well, why are we factoring? Why are we finding the greatest common factor between two monomials or two terms? Is probably the word that we've been using or have been using this whole chapter. So let's figure out why we're talking about this. What we're going to be doing is called factoring an expression, which is the opposite of distribution. With distribution, you take a number and multiply it by an expression, and you get the simplified version. So we're going to be doing the opposite of simplifying, which is factoring, which is where you take a simplified expression and you break it up into its parts. How do you do that? You find out the greatest common factor between the two terms, 8x and 4, the two monomials is the word they're using in this part of the lesson, right? They both have a 4, so that comes out. They don't both have a variable. And you divide it. 8x divided by 4 is 2x. 4 divided by 4 is 1. The common factor comes out. The leftovers stay inside there. Leave the sign alone. So it wasn't these are positive, so it stays positive. It was a plus, so it stays a plus. Let's try a couple examples of our own. So between 4 and 28, 4 is the common factor. Bring it out. 4x divided by 4 is x, or 1x. Bring down your plus. 28 divided by 4 is 7. These are not terribly hard once you understand how to do them. Key is figuring out how to do them. All right, 3 and 33 have a common factor of 3. 33x. Divide by 3. 3 divided by 3 is 1. Common mistake here is people put 0. Don't do that. 33x divided by 3 is 11x. Okay. Over here, 4 and 35, no. Break up 4 into 2 times 2. 2 can't go into 35. They both don't have a variable. So what we have here is this thing. You can't really read it because my camera's in the way. Let me move that. It says cannot be factored. So when you have an expression where the two terms don't have anything in common, can't be factored. Cannot be factored is the answer there. Okay. They're really easy to do because there's nothing to do except for look at it and say, oh, can't be factored. Now, these are rare. Doesn't happen very often. So don't just jump to this conclusion. Double check and make sure that this is actually the answer you're looking for. All right. We're going to run out of time on this video, so come back for part 2.